Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thinking Like a Bank, where we show you how to think like a bank by applying the same strategies and principles that banks use to help you find more financial freedom in your life. I'm your host, Sari Ibrahim. With us today, I have Chris Forsythe. He owns and manages the Forsythe Agency, and the agency has been in Pittsburgh, Kansas since around 1947. Although insurance has been his team's main focus for some time, Chris wants to do even more. Chris has expanded into different aspects of business. His current portfolio includes Forsythe Agency, Insurance Agency, Forsythe Enterprises, LLC, Precision Coffee Company, and Joplin Area Real Estate Investors Association. Chris is always looking for ways to assist others and enjoys giving back. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Sarah. I'm glad to be on. Excited you had me. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And it's interesting because I've always kind of I've been a licensed insurance agent for like 7 years now. I have my property, casualty, life, health licenses, Medicare certified, financial planner. But I've always kind of had in the back of my mind to connect that with real estate, especially if you're helping real estate investors also insure their properties and also provide them with the advice. But it seems like you beat me to that. That's exactly what you do today. So do you mind sharing with us more about your background and what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I'll kind of jump in, and I'm going to jump back to 2001 when I picked up my first little farm. it was 20 acres in a little farmhouse, and first property. I didn't really know what I was going to do with it other than live there. But I suddenly figured out that by splitting the property, I was able to generate a fair amount of income by just splitting that property up, and so that kind of started my real estate career, as I say. And so throughout the years, I'd pick up a rental house or a little flip property or something and work on it with my grandpa. And kind of didn't think a lot about it. Knew there was more out there that I wanted to do. I worked in manufacturing as a production supervisor. I spent about 17 years in corporate, and kind of just doing a few flips, doing a few rentals, buy and holds. And in 2017, I got the opportunity to actually jump out, purchase my own insurance agency that had actually been in the Pittsburgh, Kansas community since 1947. The agent was retiring, and it was time for them to sell the business. So I purchased that in 2017 and jumped out of corporate, took over the insurance world, and thought it'd be really easy stepping into that. It was a total paradigm shift from what I was used to. And so first year or two, it was kind of, figuring out what we do in insurance, really how to grow that customer base. And a few years into it, I thought, you know what? I can work really close with real estate investors. I understand the real estate side of things. So working with investors and property owners is something that really goes hand in hand with what I already know. And it falls right in line with what the structure of our insurance company was, because it's really real heavily weighted in P&C. And so we're probably 95+% just property and casualty. And so I've been able to actually start working more with investors, start helping first-time investors that maybe haven't got their first deal under their belt, or they're looking for deal number 2 or 3, and being able to really help them. And then the more seasoned investor really look at their portfolio, see where we can come in and save them money, but actually do maybe a better job protecting their assets. So that's kind of how I got into insurance. And then what I've been focusing on once I got into insurance. The first couple of years, I was just kind of trying to figure it out. And really now dialing into where our niche is at.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing that. You dropped a lot of cool things, for example, you were in corporate for 17 years and then you bought an insurance agency. So did you see any similarities between that, from corporate experience and working in a corporate structure to owning your own insurance agency?
There were some, from the management side of things, systems, systems. One thing that I was used to in corporate that I didn't have going out on my own and running these businesses is, I could call my maintenance team. I could call my IT specialist. We had someone on staff that would take care of those unique issues. I suddenly realized stepping into August of 2017 that I was the IT person. I was the maintenance person. And so taking on those roles in addition to trying to run a business and, sell product, that was one of my bigger challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is where like people confuse like being an expert in a subject matter with entrepreneurship. So like for example, you could be, like a really good accountant, right? You understand accounting very well, but then you go into starting your own business. Now, like you said, you're the IT person, you're the marketing person, you're the salesperson, you're the
Right.
CFO of the company. So it's a lot of different hands. And I think that's what people struggle with, is that it's not necessarily about the subject matter you're getting into. It's more about the ability to wear different hats at different times and be agile and kind of adapt frequently as needed in your business. And because as a small business owner, you can't afford to have an IT team, a marketing team, a sales. You have to kind of absorb that time initially until you could scale and hire for those areas, or even do fractional hiring where you're hiring outside for those areas. But yeah, I love it. And then you mentioned, so 95% of your insurance agency is property and casualty, right? PNC.
Yes.
Tell us more. What does that entail? What kind of products does that entail?
Yeah. So primarily we were really heavily weighted in the homeowners, multi-line. So home and auto, that's really what the business was, took over in 17. And then we had some businesses in the mix too. But what we've really focused on is the fact that our product, we can really help the investor. So I guess going fast forward, we're almost 4.5 years into this. We've sold a lot more home products, small and medium business products than really anything. We sell some auto, but really heavily weighted in that first-time home buyer, that investor, and getting their home insurance or their landlord protector policy up to speed. So we've shifted a little bit there, and so we are going to see a lot more in our portfolio, a lot more homes, whether they be a 10 unit, 20 unit, maybe an investor has 50 some doors. You're going to see a lot more of those in our portfolio. And then a lot of the small and medium businesses. So we've really grown that aspect of the business too. Really focused on helping that entrepreneur with their protection. A lot of times, we can save them money, and then sometimes it's just the fact that we always try to bring the value, whether we're saving them money or not. But some of it's just bringing value to it and be able to protect their assets and their business a lot better than what they had before.
Absolutely, I love how you've kind of connected these two. In a sense, these services, right? These real estate investing services, along with the property and casualty service, because it's a win-win, right? So for from the client's perspective, it's good that they have somebody like you, somebody who understands real estate and understands the investing aspect of real estate, as well as somebody who can then insure it from the landlord perspective, and then from the renters, and the differences between that, right? Because I was involved in this field, and there's a difference between like somebody having renter's insurance in a single family house, and then the landlord having the insurance on there, right? And a lot of times, believe it or not, a lot of times insurance companies, they don't have the right staff to explain these small details. So so in other words, you're not just an insurance agent, right, to your clients. You're more of a consultant, like a problem solver to them. It's good for you and it's good for the clients too. And I like how it kind of blends together. And I could definitely see, like I could see it from a marketing perspective from your agency, that you probably do sell a lot of business, because if you have one investor, that one investor could potentially own really any amount of properties. And if they trust you and they want to work with you, they'll insure everything with you, like landlord, renters, all that other stuff with you. Which markets do you work in? Like which areas?
So market areas. So we're right on. So we're in Pittsburgh, Kansas, right on the Missouri-Kansas line. We dip down into Oklahoma and Arkansas. So we have accounts in Oklahoma and Arkansas, and we have a few in Texas. We really hit we call it the 4-state area where we're at. We hit that 4-state area pretty hard, and definitely in the Kansas, Missouri markets.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
If, for example, like you met a client like over the phone in Florida or something like that, would you be able to help them?
Absolutely. So we've actually built a small network of agents that we recommend. And so if you call me and you're buying, I'll have a client that buys a property, looking at a property in Florida, we'll actually connect them with another partner in Florida.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The work that my office is built with agents we trust, and we connect them. We actually do the introductions for them. We'll introduce them and put them together.
Oh,
Yeah,
very nice. Okay, that's yeah, it's good. I like the system you have going on. So I want to go back into real estate investing now. So let's say, for example, um, somebody is a full-time employee, right? They're a doctor, they're a lawyer, they're an engineer. They want to get into real estate. Um, would they come to you and then you would help walk them through the process? Or tell us more as to like from A to Z, from somebody's coming to you initially wanting to get into real estate. What do you do?
I like that. So, and sometimes we'll have people on the West Coast reach out. So sometimes people in California
Mhm.
look to invest in the Midwest just because of the better rate of return that they see in our areas. So depending on, what their strategy is, they call the office. Of course, I help lead the Joplin Area Real Estate Investors Association. We do get calls into my office on people looking to either partner with us, join us as a member, or whatever that might be. So I would get to know their situation. If I could go out and meet with them, I'd love to, because I love to get in front of clients, front of people. But basically connect with them and get their passion. So I'm looking to see what they're passionate about. There's a huge difference when you invest in commercial real estate than when you invest in single family or even multifamily properties. And so I would get to know their passion and really what they're passionate about, because once we establish that, it gives us a good direction on who we're going to introduce them to, whether that be a realtor, another private investor, a lender. That gives me a good idea of who I'm going to start connecting those folks with. We're going to get the ball rolling on what they're looking for. Are they looking more for on-market deals, or are they looking more for some, are we going to do some drive for dollars, as we call it? I'm going to go out and really hit the streets and look for the investment that they're interested in. So yeah, we're going to connect them with partners when we can, but at the same time, I may go out and do some driving and look for a property to try to help them out, just to bring that value first.
Absolutely, makes sense. And I like how you mentioned California. Like if they're in California and they want to invest in the Midwest, you're right about the rate of return. Typically, I think they can get a higher rate of return in the Midwest, plus like rent control and other regulatory things that come in the way of being a landlord in the Midwest versus in California. So,
Right.
and then you mentioned that you might connect them to like a lender. So are these lenders for like investment properties? Is that who you're connecting them to?
Yes. So it could be, do they need to go the traditional route with a bank? And do I need to try to find a good bank for them to plug into? Or do they need more private money? And so they need, a private money, hard money lender to come in and help them. And then with that, some of, private money lenders we work with will actually help coach the client. So they're going to look at the deal, analyze that deal with them, and go, is this really a deal that you should be focusing on here? Because that private money lender has got skin in the game at that point too. They're coming in with that client into that deal, into that transaction. Maybe it's a partnership. So we often talk about partnerships, and I'm a big believer in partnerships in real estate. So maybe just plugging them in with a partner who's been an active investor for a while that can really, they may come in with the funds. They may partner up with somebody who has the skills and be able to complete a transaction too.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I've had a couple other guests on the show talk that were private money lenders, right? And they also have like coaching programs for private money lenders. And I like how you mentioned that. So the private money lender is an individual, right? They're a person who has money, typically in a 401k or IRA or in a cash value life insurance policy, like we do with infinite banking. And then they would like loan it out to people to invest in real estate. And then they would also, in addition to that, provide some mentoring, since the lender, the private money lender, is invested into the deal. And it kind of helps facilitate things and like kind of execute things when you have somebody else holding you accountable and mentoring you. They're not just giving you money and then you go out and either win or lose. Somebody who's involved in the process of it. And I think also too, from like a business perspective, like, especially in entrepreneurship, you need mentoring, you need coaching, you need some sort of stability, because there are so many variables, so many things can go wrong. And you want to limit that risk by having somebody holding you accountable, who's helping you, who's also, your success is their success. Right.
Yeah, you hit on the head there. It's when you bring someone else in, and someone with maybe more experience. I mean, I do that. They've got skin in the game. Your success is their success, and so those win-win partnerships are huge. And as I dig into real estate more and get more experience, I'm learning the value of partnerships and bringing someone else to the table with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like the saying, your network is your net worth, right?
Amen.
What else do you, so you do insurance, you do real estate. What is Forsythe Enterprises LLC?
So I formed that in like 2019.
Uh-huh.
What it's for is I'm starting to buy some buy and hold properties. And so that entity is where I'm starting to title those properties into the ones that I'm holding on to. Mm-hmm. So I'm transitioning to put, I had kind of everything going into one basket at first. And so everything was going into my personal name. And I had a banker actually talk to me and kind of coach me and goes, you need to start looking at separating that into a separate entity. Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense. And so I'm now buying in that company. Done some remodels and some stuff out of that LLC as well, but primarily it's a hold spot for real estate.
Okay. And then for those who don't know, like why not just have all your properties like in one basket?
Right. That's a really good question. So this kind of goes back to the insurance side too. When they're titled in your own name, of course, that brings you personally into any lawsuit or a mishap or anything that might happen. So one thing to do is form an entity that you run, keep it separate from, you personally. And in my case, that's an LLC. It works best for me right now. And so we title those properties to that LLC. And then I actually insure that LLC so that if there were any kind of lawsuits or any kind of anything that would come, that entity would take the hit, and the policies I have written through that entity would be the ones that would take the claim. So it's just shielding my own personal assets and my own personal, everything I've worked for. It's shielding that and putting it into one business, one company for me.
Got it. Yeah. And this is something we talk about regularly, right? In our business, like, at Financial Asset Protection, we talk about different methods of, asset protection, right? So it's not necessarily just to simply like hide things, but really it's a more protection, right? Because anything can go wrong. Right. We want to be able to, as entrepreneurs and as real estate investors, we want to be able to limit and mitigate those risks using, these strategies, like whether it's the application of cash value whole life insurance or LLCs or trusts or different things like that. And especially when you're working in different states, it can open up mm-hmm. different potential risks. But yeah, I think one key takeaway from this is work with somebody who's kind of like agile in these different areas, who kind of understands lending, like yourself, who understands lending, who understands asset protection, who understands real estate, who understands the insurance side of it too, because having insurance is simply not enough just to insure a property, right? Like, it could, there are a lot of exclusions to insurance mm-hmm. policies. I mean, how can, it was really nice having you on the show, and I enjoyed our conversation. I'm looking forward to having you back on the show. So how can listeners connect with you?
So yeah, a really quick way. And I try to be active on all forms of social media. So, Facebook, Snapchat, LinkedIn, all those, but really chris@chrisforsythe.com is a great way to email me. I'm really responsive there. A lot of times we're working 12, 16-hour days, but at the end of my day or the beginning of my day, when I go back to my mm-hmm. email, it gives me an opportunity to follow up with folks. And then ForsytheAgency.com is one way. And then JoplinAreaREA.com is our real estate website. And I would love to have people connect with me there too.
For sure. I'll put all these links in the show notes below so people can click and connect with you. Chris, it was awesome meeting you and talking to you. I'm looking forward to talking to you again.
You as well, Sari. Thank you so much.
Thanks. To learn more about what we do and how we can help you grow more wealth, please visit www.finassetprotection.com. That's FIN assetprotection.com. The topics presented in this podcast are for general information only and not for the purposes of providing legal, accounting, or investment advice. On such matters, please consult a professional who knows your specific situation.